All right. Good morning. Good morning. And a beautiful Monday to you, Center for Spiritual Living, Palm Desert, and friends all over the place, wherever you are. It's a good day. It's a beautiful day. There's Reverend Arlene. Look at that goddess. Magnificent. I'm so grateful to be joined by Reverend Arlene Hilton from Los Angeles. She's a minister at Agape and but does so many things. And I'm excited to get into this to talk about the broad scope of everything that you're up to. So I hope everybody's up to a beautiful Monday so far, wherever you are. It's 10 o'clock here on the West Coast, and hot. I think we got up to 120 yesterday. I think. What is it? Where are you, Inglewood, Arlene?
I am in Ladera Heights.
Ladera Heights, okay.
Close to Culver City. I'm in between Inglewood and Culver City. It's great.
Okay, excellent. So we're just about 2 hours away from each other.
Right. Is it 2 hours? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we're things are heating up here in the desert, and I'm so grateful to be joined by my friends. See, I've known you now it's been since 2002, so about 18 years I've known you.
Yes. Wow. I didn't put that together. I moved to Los Angeles in 2001 and just dived into Agape. Yeah. So first I'd like to say from Reverend Michael and Agape community, it's a good God morning. He sends his love and his light. So I just wanted to add that before we get started.
Right on. Thank you. We always appreciate love and light from the Rev.
Yes, yes.
Cool. So let's see. How are you, generally speaking?
Life is wonderful. I feel I'm busier now than I've been in my life. And, it's funny, as we were trying to get me on this Zoom call this morning, I'm Zooming so much that I had to buy a new computer, and we just got it all set up and, just trying to get myself situated because my ministries are now Zooming. So it's really, some people think it's distance, but for me, I feel it's closeness, to be honest. So I have a different view of what's going on in the world right now. I believe this is all bringing us closer together.
Well, let's follow that for a second then, because a lot of people are dealing with loneliness right now and feeling alone. So share with us your worldview or your view on that closeness, and how can folks tap into that then? Sounds like you got it.
Well, I have continued to work through this whole quarantine. I'm the spiritual director of Safe Harbor Treatment Center for Women. So I have to go to work. I mean, addiction has no days off. And I just remind the women, hey, you're on quarantine, but the whole world is on quarantine. Make them feel a little bit better. But what I understand is that to me, this is an opportunity to dive into oneness. We believe we're all one. We believe we're one from the same source, the same presence, the same power. We believe all these things. We believe that there's only one presence, one power, one life, one love, eternal. And yet somewhere back there, we were believing in separation. So for me, everything that's going on right now, whether we're talking about Black Lives Matters or whatever we're talking about in this moment, this is actually bringing us to the awareness that we're all one. That we're all one in this one presence and one power. And I feel that every time I'm on a Zoom. When was the last time you and I had a conversation together or saw one another where we get to see that now? People are having reunions online. My cousins are having family dinner every Sunday night online. Yep. If this wasn't going on, they wouldn't be I got two twin cousins and their sister. They're young, they're in their early 20s. They would be out having a good time. They're at home now online with their parents having dinner on Sunday.
Yeah.
So I really believe in the greater good. On the other side of the pain and the hurt and the suffering, that there's a greater good that's happening. And so I believe in that.
Yeah, right on. So the human, and then there's the human touch piece that people I agree with you 100%. And we are connecting a lot. Like, it's so good to see your face. I haven't seen your face in a while.
I know, it's been a while.
It's been a while. So we do get to, someone's saying there has to be a pony in the pile of manure.
All right.
Oh, where's my
That's a
pen?
good way to put it.
I gotta bring up the chat to see, because, oh, and that reminds me right now. Please interact with Reverend Arlene and myself. Bring us questions, comments, everything so that
Oh,
we can,
wow. I'm gonna
oh
get
no, we
some
love to
more
interact
toasties.
here.
Yes,
We love to
okay.
have participation. So what's on your heart, ask. The great wisdom of Reverend Arlene will throw down. She will, and throw up, and give us, raise us and praise us. So by all means, on that comment section, if you through the website or on YouTube Live, throw some comments in so we can talk about it. So I love it. So basically, what we can invite people into is just is seeing things differently. Like, use this Zoom technology, use your FaceTime, use these things so that you are seeing. You can still look into somebody's eyes and commune with them and have lovely conversation and things like that.
Mhm.
So one of the things that folks can do is really use this opportunity to get up on our technology so that we can keep this connection going.
Absolutely. You
Yep.
know, it's very interesting because this is when we deepen, and I like, you know, I use my hands a lot. When we deepen our prayer and we deepen our meditation and we deepen truth principles, because we get so caught up in life that we can sometimes forget the very truth that frees us from these thoughts that are really not truth. They're just believed, but they're not truth. The truth is we are one. We are one in this thing called life. And I believe that I don't really name it. I don't even talk about the name of the dis-ease that's going on in the world. That's just how I am. But what has caused us to have to quarantine, that very thing itself, my prayer is on the other side that there's a blessing that comes through. That we become greater communicators, or we become greater lovers of life, or we take the time to do the things we haven't done. I'm coloring now. I literally am coloring. I have a coloring book. I've had this book for 5 years because I felt I wanted to tap into my creativity, never used the book. And then now I decided, you know what? I got to download sometimes. I got to stop. So now I'm using the book.
Cool.
Yeah. So just things like that.
Things like, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go here for a second. You mentioned recovery, because one of the things that people are doing more, they're not coloring, they're drinking more. They might be using more during
I
this.
heard about that.
You know, there's a lot of folks that are using that to cope. Talk to us about recovery and consciousness and what your relationship with that, because you've been in that game for a long time now, right?
Yeah, it's been 10 years. I've been the spiritual director of Safe Harbor. And I have to say that what brought me into that was someone else knowing my value. A woman named Velvet Mangan saw me at a women's retreat. I was praying and she said, "You're the one." And I was like, "I'm the one for what?" And said, you know, she called me into this work. I thought I wasn't the one until I realized through prayer that I am there for a divinity, not for the addiction, for the divinity. Because although people are dealing with addiction, there's a divine self. And so a lot more people are going to get help now. They're realizing, hey, I'm an addict. Like this drink, this drug has affected my brain in such a way that it's taken over. And I tell people, I say, you know, at some point you made that drink, you made that drug, you're God. And if that's all you're focused on, you're going to get more of that. So I take them into prayer. I'm very rare to find a spiritual director, meaning I'm full time with these women and men, predominantly women. We have 2 houses. We have a men's house now. And I focus with them on spiritual practice, daily spiritual practice. Because as Reverend Michael says, what you're interested in is interested in you. And so to deepen spiritual practice, to, you know, I've had women call me and say, Rev, I go, is there anything in your house, alcohol, whatever it is, toss it out, get it out of your house. Ask for help if you need it. There's plenty of meetings. Since I'm not a part of AA, I can promote it. If you are, they don't want you to promote it, but, you know, get online. Zoom meetings are online for AA now. AA, NA, OA, all of them. And to remember that God is greater than any dis-ease of mind.
Yeah.
You know,
And,
so
and,
I really.
and to make the worship of God the ease of mind, to actually,
Yes.
because if we're generally always worshiping something. So we could be worshiping the drug or the drink or whatever dysfunction in any way. But if we start to worship the good, like you
Yes.
said, what you're interested in becomes interested in you. So we can take an inventory or take stock. What am I interested in, or what are my gods right now? What am I putting my attention
Yes. Well,
on?
you know, there's a question. Someone wants to know
Tell us
about
about your
spiritual
meditation.
practice. Okay.
That's
So
from
it's very,
popular legend.
yeah. Well, you know, when I was in practitioner training, I was actually a religious science practitioner first before I became an agape. I was in school for religious science. And I started studying religious science at 18 years old. I was studying Ernest Holmes in Chicago.
Hmm.
His name was Whitehead, and he was in the Water Tower place. And it was downtown Chicago. And Oprah Winfrey lived on the top floor. And I was like, one day I'm going to meet Oprah Winfrey. Hasn't happened yet, but it's going to. But
It's still,
and
we're
so
still living. We're still living. There's still,
okay.
yeah.
And so when I was in practitioner training, I said I wanted to gain more insight on meditation. So I started off meditating 7 minutes a day, just 7 minutes. I made
Why
that
seven? Why seven?
the number seven means completion. So I
All
just
right.
chose that number.
Okay.
And then eventually I went to 15 minutes. And then it wasn't enough. Like there was an inner call for more.
Mm.
And then I went to 30 minutes. And then that wasn't enough. Then I went to 45 minutes. And sometimes that's not enough. But you know, I wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning. I meditate for 45 minutes to an hour every morning. I have spiritual practice. I set my intentions for the morning. And intentions are different than goals. My intention is, how do I want to be for the day? Your goal is what you want to do for the day.
Mm.
So today was divine love, divine wisdom, and God's power. Those were my intentions. I want to live that out. Every day I write a gratitude list at the end of the night. But as far as meditation practice, there's so much out here nowadays that you can check into. There's Insight Timer, there's Calm if you need to be guided. And then just practicing the stillness, the breath, every inhalation and exhalation, a mantra. My mantra was God is real, God is magnificent, God is life, God is love. I would repeat that over and over. It was a song from Agape, and I would repeat that. And I find myself when I meditate, I move much easier. I may make less moves in a day than I would make if I didn't meditate. The answer comes. Sometimes I know things and I'm like, I didn't know. No one told me this. I know things. Meditation opens us up. So I believe meditation is vital. It's vital to our existence.
Mm.
And people think I don't have enough time, but the truth is when you make the time, even though there is no time for meditation, it opens up your time.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
You perceive the world in an entirely different way. You
Absolutely.
you see it.
Absolutely.
Your paradigm shifts. Speaking of time, how are you not hemmed up by time then? Do you set an alarm or something like that? So to
Yes,
let you know 45 minutes is up?
I have a charm. Yeah, of course, you know how we are with our, modern day everything. I said it because I get up at 5 and I have to be out of my house by 7. So 45 minutes is prayer, is meditation alone. Then I have my writings, then I have my readings, whether it's Ernest Holmes for 365 or whether it's 40-day Mind Fast Soul Feast or whether it's some Charles Fillmore. I do a reading in the morning.
Cool. I thought you were saying whether it's from Charles Hall.
No,
No,
not
no,
yet.
no.
Although I'm writing my book right now. I'm just
Are
saying.
you?
Yeah, I'll be.
Do you have a working title?
Yes, but I'm kind of keeping it close for the moment.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there anything you're willing to share with us about your book?
Well, I just realized my book is really about my journey to meditation, my journey to prayer, my journey in manifestation, how things have unfolded in my life. I feel I've lived my life in what we call flow, where I wasn't going to be a minister. That wasn't in my plans. I was a makeup artist and I was a really good makeup artist and I made a lot of money being a makeup artist. And I was moved to California by this amazing company that I work for. And that was my life, but I was always volunteering.
Mm.
At Unity in Boston, I worked with children. I was the supervisor of Children's Church. I come to Agape, I'm working with the teen ministry. I've always served, and my serving gave me my path.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
That's
So as
100%.
I served, I'm so excited. I know I got a lot of energy right now.
I love it.
Could be my green drink that I'm
Hey,
drinking.
hey, share it.
But you know, I just as I served humanity and specifically children, because I do believe that children are not heard enough. And I made that decision as a young girl that I'm going to listen, because as a teenage girl, I tried to commit suicide. And after that, I was like, I'm going to listen. Nobody listens. And so that's been my journey that's carried me. Even in my work as a makeup artist, I had to listen. You know,
Yeah.
working with children, you have to listen. Working in addiction, you have to. I actually made that decision as a 14-year-old girl that I'm going to listen. And it's carried me through my whole life.
Mm.
So serving has opened up my path. People want to know, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. You don't have to know. Just give, just
Yeah.
serve, and the path will open for you because
Mm.
you'll be in a flow of life. I've never planned out my life. People may be against that, but I've served, and serving has given me the answers in what I'm going to do with my life.
Mhm.
You
Give
know what I mean?
yourself away, and you will
Yeah.
be, give, and you will be given unto.
Yes. Yeah.
Don wants to know, what are you doing with your teens?
What am I doing? What are we not doing? Okay. So
And
this
how many teens do you serve? Give us a little backdrop. What's that? And you've been doing this for a long time as well, right?
I have. When I think about it, well, we've gone from, years ago when you were at Agape, and prior to that, there was Reverend Carol Trailer. We had teens that literally grew up at Agape. I mean, from infant all the way through to young adult. So I would get them, after they've been in preteens, then they would go to teens. Reverend Leon is with the preteens and the infants now and the primaries. And what we do is, right now we're zooming them in. We average, I don't know, maybe 12 to 20 depending on a Sunday, but we now have teens from all over the country.
Mm.
Yesterday we had a teen from Georgia, a teen from Pennsylvania, a teen from Florida. We have teens that are coming in. So even when this ends, teens are still going to be zooming in while we physically meet.
Yes.
And so what do we teach our teens? Principle. This whole month is sacred site, holy site, that
Mm.
they're sacred and that they're holy, and what they have within them, it's already within them. The world can't give it to them, that everything has been created and there's no mistake in creation. Sometimes a teen will say, well, my mom told me I was a mistake. There is no mistake. You're needed or you wouldn't exist. I mean, what do we teach them? We teach them that they're worthy, that they're necessary. We teach them that they're capable, that they're fully capable of living a life fulfilled, that they can make important and necessary choices right now in their life that can help serve humanity. I mean, should I go on?
Yes, absolutely. Because not only are you talking about teens, you're talking about humanity. I mean, if we could all get this stuff, right? If we can all embody these ideas that you're talking about, we can fly.
It's interesting because I say to the teens sometimes, especially when we were in a physical space, I would say to the teens, now years ago, we would have 40, 50 teens, they graduate. Every year, I was going through empty nest syndrome, because we would have 10 teens graduate to go away to college, 12, 13, until we narrowed down to moving. We moved to a new location, and that kind of shifted a lot of things, and we're now rebuilding. So
Hmm.
I at one time I had 25, 40 teens in the room,
Yeah.
and now we're building up again. And our teens now are a little different. They're kind of, I don't know, there's so much information on the internet. They kind of think they know it all, but they do have a lot of information, but they're
Information.
not using the wisdom. They haven't actually stepped into the spiritual wisdom to how to use this information. So unfortunately, parents are different now. Honey, do you want to go online? Do you want to, where it used to be, you have two choices. You can be with me watching this, or you can be here doing this.
Mhm.
Makes it so much easier.
You made it so we had no choice when we were growing up. Mom
I
said,
know.
"Have your butt in the car in 5 minutes because we're going to church." That's the way it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not like that anymore. I
Yeah.
must say though, we had teens that were coming whose parents didn't even come to Agape. They just came on their own, which was
Yep.
wonderful. So we're teaching principles. Yesterday we had game day because things have been so intense. Um, and then we were like, wait a minute, we got to have some fun and we need to lighten this up. So yesterday we had a woman named Bryn Drescher who works with athletes, young athletes, and she had games and self-empowerment games. It was very powerful. We do breath work. We have Michelle and Dean that come in and they do breath work with the teens. So we have Greg Johnson. He comes in and he's been around at least 11, 12 years with the teen program. And he has his own nonprofit. So he teaches them worthiness and worth and principles. We have husband and wife teams, Jamal and his wife, Angela. They would come in and do different things. Like, we have people who come in that are steeped in principle though.
Yes.
We don't just have anybody come in.
Yes.
And they come in and they support our youth. And I say this to the teens: the things that your parents are out there healing right now, you can heal now so you don't have to heal it later.
Amen. Absolutely.
And one of my famous quotes with the teens is, the things they say is wrong with you is normally what's right with you. And I got that from when I was a young girl and I would get in trouble for talking too much in class, and I would always get in trouble. I would get an A. It would have been, maybe a B, and they'll say, well, if she didn't talk so much to her neighbors. And I, as adult looking back, I go, I wish they would have said, you're talking to your neighbors is beautiful.
Yep.
You just can't do it right now.
Yeah. We go back and teach our teachers and mentors to say all sorts of things differently.
Because
right?
what's my greatest gift?
Yes.
I talk to people.
Well, and listen, you got a best of both worlds, right? I mean,
Exactly.
I want to hear what you sound like when you get to the bottom of that green drink.
Oh, wow. I
Wow.
know.
So
I'll have a sip while you're saying that.
there you go. So listening, so the things that you were sensitive to when you were a kid, you bring these things to the kids now.
Exactly, because
That
it's the
wisdom.
same.
Hmm?
It's the same.
Yeah.
And nothing's changed. Children, they want to be listened to. They want to be heard. They want to be able to express themselves. What's
Yep.
different than when we were younger?
Yeah.
We wanted that. The only thing is, I remember when I said to myself, they've forgotten. And I was speaking about the adults. I was like, they forgot. They forgot who they were. They forgot. And so now as I speak, I remember not being heard. I remember the things I held inside because I knew no one would listen. I remember, and as you remember that, then you can, from that space, you can hear our youth.
Yes.
You can hear what they're saying.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Kind user says, since we can't travel, we can interact with foreigners through Zoom. People are now taking classes through Zoom that they could never get to due to schedule, traffic, competing interests.
Right.
Now on hold. Yeah.
I agree with that.
It does bring a particular focus to things.
Well, I want you to look at the alignment, and I am going to bring in some conversation that may be uncomfortable. I want to bring into alignment quarantine. Quarantine happens. Everybody's at home. All of a sudden, everyone's focused on television. I don't have a television, so I'm not necessarily focused on that. And then we see a man on the ground, a police officer with his knee on his neck, which we probably wouldn't have seen because people are working. They don't have time to watch all these things. More people are home. They see that. And then all of a sudden the Black Lives Matters starts moving and shaping itself. And then all of a sudden we start seeing a lot of people out here in pain. And I see a lot of these videos that are coming out, and I really look, and they're call for prayer. They're a call for prayer. Reverend Michael used to say, when you pick up a newspaper, it's a call for prayer. When I see these videos of people who are just unkind to one another, it's a call for prayer. So I actually pray as I watch it. And also, there's a lot of mental illness. There's a lot of not many people are speaking to mental illness and what's going on with people in their minds. This pandemic has made a lot of people a little, they're having difficulty mentally.
Yes.
So in the midst of all of that, I say this, that as we come together, as we support one another, as we reach out to one another, check in on everyone. How are you doing? Can I talk with you? Can I pray with you? Let's read a page together. Something, it can help us in these times. But I also believe that these times break down for breakthrough.
Mm,
This is the breakdown time. This is the stop all you've been doing time and really focus on what your heart is calling you to be and do.
yeah.
I believe that's what's happening.
Let's talk a little bit more about mental illness just for a moment, because I was reminded by that of something yesterday as well. How would people know? How does it demonstrate itself? What does it look like when someone might be struggling with mental issues, like when we say mental illness?
Mhm. Oh, there's so many, I'm no professional on this. I do work with women who have a struggle with mental illness. A lot of people who are in addiction actually have mental illness issues, and the drugs and the drink actually helps alleviate their minds for a moment. And so there's so many things from, people not having enough sleep. You're up 4 or 5 days, 4 or 5 nights, and all of a sudden you're having a psychotic event. There's so many things that can happen. And I would never claim to be a professional. I do claim that mind can be healed,
Yes.
and to seek help, to seek support. There's hotlines, there's a lot of things.
Yep.
I know some people don't want to take meds. So transcendental meditation can help with that. I would say study it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to study it.
There you
I
go.
made the decision. Yeah, because I do well with meditation, but I think it may take me to a new level.
There you go.
So,
Always another level. Yeah, I don't mean to put you
absolutely.
on the spot as put you on the spot as a professional or anything like that, but
No, I get it.
there's a tremendous amount of anxiety out there that causes panic as well, and that's a mental function also.
Hmm.
That can look like fear. We never know what's going to happen because everybody's making it up. Nobody's got it figured out. I don't care who.
Right.
But especially now, it can actually turn into panic and things that really affect us and our ability to operate.
Well, I would like to also bring in exercise. Remember, we're spirit, mind, body, spiritual,
Yes.
mental, physical people. So to do the spiritual work, but you can't do a spiritual bypass. To do spiritual work, to do the mental work, and to do the physical, we need to work out. We need to take care of our bodies. I've been working out now more than before this whole thing happened. My eating, actually, Ash Wednesday, I went raw, and I've been raw for over 100 and something days. I just started eating some cooked food recently. What are you putting in your body? Are you eating a lot of junk food? See, you know what? It's layered. We're dimensional beings. We're not just one. So we have to address ourselves from all levels. All
Yes.
levels.
And I'm glad you brought up the food thing because that's where I wanted to go next. Because I was trying to pull up. I should have done this before we got on, but your bio.
Uh-huh.
But
Oh, bio.
your bio. But part of it is what's your website? Arlene.
My website is revarlenehilton.com.
Rev Arlene Hilton. But I wanted to bring up, excuse me, folks, while I do this. I want to bring up the food thing because no, that's not it. Okay, I'm gonna do it. Well, you're talking. Next time you're talking,
I have a cousin named named Arlene Hilton. So I'm Rev Arlene Hilton.
Does she have a website, Arlene
No,
Hilton?
she doesn't. RevArleneHilton.com. It's Rev
Let's
Arlene or RevArlene.com.
see.
So I'll talk a little bit about, I run the Living Foods Ministry at Agape.
Yeah, there we go. Go for it. Yeah.
And the Living Foods Ministry, every fourth Sunday of the month, we would bring in a raw food chef. And the raw food chef will the idea is to bring in more living foods into what we're eating on a daily basis so we can get the vitamins and minerals from the food. Once you cook food, you lose a lot of the minerals. You lose a lot of it once you cook the food over 118 degrees. So every month. So now we're like, okay, what are we going to do? So what we've done is we've gone live. So every fourth Sunday of the month, we're on Agape's page live. We're still working out the kinks because it's been an interesting journey. But I've had two amazing chefs so far. I've had Chef Madupe, and I've had another chef, and I know her name, Gwen Keneally, on the
I
show.
love Gwen.
Yes, Gwen was great. And so she did some raw foods, add more living, organic living foods to what we're eating. If you're going to eat meat, eat a smaller portion of meat and double up your vegetables and what you're intaking. And so I do believe this is another thing. I made a lot of decisions years ago.
Right
When I
on.
went to ministerial school, I said I was going to practitioner training, actually, spirit, mind, body. This is how I'm going to address myself, because some people become so spiritual that they forget that they're physical too. So I decided, I went vegan 12 years ago. I've never touched another piece of meat, but it started at 18. I gave
Mm,
up beef at 18. I gave up pork at 13. I gave up all dairy. I gave up pop, is what we called it in Chicago.
yeah.
I think you all call it soda. Um, I gave up these particular things, and at this point in my life, I feel the best I've ever felt. 12 years vegan. I eat mostly raw. I do eat some cooked, and I can feel the difference when I eat cooked and vegan, cooked or raw.
Yeah.
And so the temple of the living God, I have to honor it. What am I putting in it? What am I adding to the temple? What am I having for breakfast? What am
Mm,
I having for lunch? So we're so much in our totality. We must live in our totality. We must honor ourselves in our level. So I honor my spiritual self, my mental self, and my physical self on a daily basis. I want to work out more. I'm not working out as much as I would like, but at least I'm getting 2 days in a week so far, and eventually it'll be 4 days a week. But we have to remember all of it.
all of it.
And working out helps the mental state.
Yep. At 100%. I've been swimming
Yeah.
a little bit more lately, and that helps me because that's like a full body, get everything involved, and it exhausts my body, but it exhausts my brain. Just to slow everything down, and just to trust more, and be in the flow more, and I sleep better.
Hmm.
So, absolutely for the working out piece. I had a question. Live food. Oh, I wrote a comment. I remember years ago, I was actually with Reverend Michael, and we went to some raw place. We were doing an event in Chicago when I worked at Bodie out there,
Okay.
which was then Center for Spiritual Living Chicago. But we went and did this. Um, oh man, what's it called? They clean out your lymph nodes or something. Is
Oh
it
yeah. Okay.
the
Okay.
treatment? We went
Mhm.
and did that, and then we went to a raw restaurant. And I was like, Rev, I don't think I can drive, man. We left the rest after we did these treatments, and then we went and had this food. I was so high, like I was higher than maybe I've ever been on all the other stuff that I've done way back when. Just
Yeah. Yeah.
high. I was like, Rev, I don't think I can drive. He's like, you just got to just keep your feet on the ground. But it is fascinating what those types of disciplines do to the body, and how
Well,
it.
absolutely. Listen, I have a program called I'm Keeping True, which is advancing now because I'm going to see how I can do this online. But I'm Keeping True has, but I did it during the season of Lent, and I do it during Ramadan because I believe those are powerful seasons. So for 47 days, people have to give up all animal products.
Mm,
They have prayer partners. They have to, not only do they have prayer partners, they have daily writings they have to do. It's just a whole program, morning calls, nighttime calls. It's intense.
yeah.
And I've had people do it with me for over 12 years. And then I have a lot of new people who've joined. Then during Ramadan for 30 days, we do the same thing. Well, this year, I never stopped. I went from Lent, it ended, and then Ramadan. I ate food, cooked food one day. My body was like, what is this? And I kept going through the Ramadan season. And then after Ramadan ended, I kept going. And I believe that Ramadan and Lent, and there are other spiritual times that are very powerful and important to deepen your prayer, to deepen your meditation, to fast. I believe I don't have to be Catholic anymore. I was Catholic as a little girl to enjoy Lent. I don't have to be Muslim. I get to honor my Muslim brothers and sisters and learn about them during Ramadan.
Mm.
And I'm bringing it into other traditions now, the Jewish tradition, other spiritual, the Buddhist traditions, so that we can all be together as we fast and pray. I mean, I believe in oneness.
Mhm. It's
It's
obvious.
real.
It's obvious you do. I love it. And that's what we need to hear right now. So preach on it.
Absolutely. I just oneness in self and oneness with one another. That is, I don't even know how to say this. There's no words to describe that we have been living in lies. We've been living in separatism for too long. All is ageism, sexism, racism, all of that is separatism. This land is my land.
Yeah.
This land is, this is our, not only the United States, our world.
Yes.
I want the greater good for our world. And so I know I get passionate. So
No disclaimers. We love passion, don't we, community?
I get passionate. I get passionate.
Well, I know I've been on the other end of your passion before. We're not going to bring
Yes,
that
you
up right
have.
now, but you're Jamaican. So
I,
you're Jamaican, right? Is that where you come from?
I was born in Jamaica. I came to America as a young girl, and it was difficult coming here, having an accent, and I had a lot of abusive things with children in school, and it was hard, and I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Got chased home a lot. Got called a lot of things. Got told I wasn't Black, and I was like, wait a minute, I have an accent. I don't know. I was looking at my skin going,
What am I?
yeah, yeah.
So what do you make of what's going on? This isn't a conversation most people want to go to, but it's a conversation a lot of us are going to. What do you make of everything that's going on? You mentioned you turn on the TV, you see a guy on the ground with a police officer, knee in his neck.
Mm-hmm.
He dies, and so we're seeing a lot happening right now. We had an interesting phone call the other night. Where's your heart with everything that's going on in the world right now, as far as Black Lives Matter, race relations, things like that? I can pierce through it by what you're saying about oneness.
Right, right.
And there's a movement and consciousness happening.
Well, I believe it's the perfect storm. Like everything that's happening right now, a lot of people are learning things that they never even realized existed. I had a really good friend. If you go on my page, I have a few different things written on my page. A good friend of mine who's Caucasian, lives in Boston. I called her one night and I said to her, I said, do you remember that night I was at your house? She lives out, I know the name of the place right now, but she lives out in a little bit of a suburbia area. They're building new homes, a lot of trees. And it was late one night. It was almost midnight. I was leaving her house. And I said, I don't feel comfortable going home in the dark like this. And I said, her husband was a state trooper. And I said, can you drive me halfway home? And that was over 20 years ago. Recently, when I talked to her, I said, do you remember that night? She said, I do. But she never understood. The reason I didn't want to go home alone that night was because I was afraid if I was pulled over by a police officer, who would they believe, me or the police officer? That was my fear. And she goes, Arlene, I had no idea. And then she said to me, I don't know what I don't know. I don't even know what I don't know. And so, as I'm learning more, I'm even learning more. I'm learning of systems where it was created that you couldn't buy a home in a certain area, and just all these things that people don't understand. It was written in the books, some of this, and how it's systemic. And it's happening. And now, have I lived a good life? I have. I've lived in a world of beauty on the outside. Now I'm living with beauty on the inside. I've had wonderful experiences in my life. But for the past few Saturdays, I've put messages up, so that people can see, hey, I've had my moments. I had my moment as a makeup artist, walking into Saks Fifth Avenue, Barney's, Neiman's, in my stilettos, looking amazing, and having this clear plastic bag to make sure they saw that I wasn't stealing anything. These little nuances that exist. When I walk into a store, I'll say, do you want to take my bag? And they're looking at me like, no. I go, oh, because I want to make sure they don't think I'm taking something as I'm carrying my bag. Like, it's just, it's embedded, and a lot of people don't realize it's in there. They don't even understand. They don't know.
Yeah.
And so what I have
Well,
chosen to do, my place is to educate, because I am very universal, because I'm around people of all backgrounds, all cultures. I love people so much, and I love life so much, that, and to be in an industry where I could add beauty to any woman, and not really add, enhance, whether you're Asian or African American, or whether you're Caucasian, or whether you're Hispanic, or that, whatever you were, I was there to enhance your beauty.
yes.
And it was, it made me talk to people of all different backgrounds and all different financial status.
Yeah.
You know, I worked in Bonwit Teller, and above that was in the John Hancock building in Chicago, right?
Mhm.
And on the top floor were billionaires and millionaires, and they would come downstairs and buy hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of product. And then later on, maybe their maid would come down and take a little bit of money out of her bra and buy the best cream she saved up her money for.
Mm.
I talk to everybody. And one thing I know to my bones, as Reverend Michael would say, to my bones, is
Bone,
that,
bone knowledge.
yeah, is that we are truly one. And if we will all embrace that and live from that we're sourced by the same God, called by many names: God, higher power, spirit, ultimate intelligence, divine wisdom, all these names and more, Allah, Yahweh, Jehovah, sourced by this one, but divine expressions of the one,
Yes.
individualized expressions of the one.
Yes. For folks to really jump and dive into the spiritual path, it's a couple things. One is a conclusion that I came to a few years ago is that I don't think the point of being a human being is to not deny our humanity. I think it's to fully embrace our humanity, or else we wouldn't be here. Like, what is it to be a human being and deal with people and the relationships and the emotions and these types of things, and bring it into a spiritual context, but embrace our humanity.
Right.
Because when it's time for us to not be here anymore, then we'll see what the next thing is, and but to embrace the spiritual path, to embrace the spiritual walk, I discovered a long time ago, means you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because it's going to take things away from you as much as it adds to you, right? And the additions are so much more. They're like you said, it's indescribable. The gifts, the good, but we have to be comfortable with the things that will be taken away from us. The comfort zones that we live in, the types of food that we eat, dysfunctional relationships, all these types of things, we will be revolutionized. And that's
Yeah,
something that folks really need to embrace, the idea of that, but constantly being made whole over and over again.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and I know you say make whole. I believe we're returning to our wholeness. It was already there. You know, sometimes I get women, and I just want to hold a prayer. There's a fire truck going by, that they reach their destination and they help who needs to be helped. You know, there's a lot of women who don't understand wholeness. Imagine you come in, you feel like you're broken, but there's no such thing as broken.
Right.
Like, no one can break our soul, you know, and no one can break us. And if we can remember that that wholeness cannot be removed, it's untaintable, untouchable. Even if you've been through trauma, nothing can change your wholeness. We're divine beings, and the women will sometimes say WHOLE, because I say that all the time. We're whole, WHOLE. I remember once I told Marianne Williamson, I said, Marianne, there's no hole in the soul. And she looked at me and she goes, what do you mean? I said, people believe there's a hole, so they keep trying to fill something up, but you can't fill something that's already full. We're full with the presence of God. And so there is no hole in the soul. We are whole beings. And she
Yeah.
actually quoted me the next week, because, you know, we get confused. We think our human self is who we are. Our human self is the depiction of a part of who we are, but our spirit is the totality of who we are. You know, I believe that we came into this existence to bring the spiritual self into the human existence, so that we can overcome the human existence. It's
Mm.
almost as if we're proving ourselves.
What would it look like
Okay.
to overcome the human existence? What
To
would that look like?
overcome to
Okay.
overcome the human existence, to me, means that we can have these experiences. You know, unfortunately, some people don't know who they are, so they perpetuate pain on others, or they they harm and endanger other people. You may have trauma in your life, pain and suffering, but to overcome that, meaning that you have experienced it, but it is not who you are.
Yes.
And you've experienced it, and maybe, just maybe, it cracks me open to be more compassionate towards others.
Yeah.
Or maybe it opens me up to use my God's wisdom in my life. Or maybe it shows me the power of God that is within me. Or maybe it shows me my ability to speak and communicate in a powerful way. Or maybe ...
Or it will. We got some comments here. Let's
All right, let's see
get
what's
caught up.
happening.
We are one, we are one. Is this a song? It feels like a song. We are one, we are one. I am you, you are me, we are one. And in this unity, we can live in harmony and peace will come because we are one. That's got to be a song, isn't it?
It's got to be a song.
It's a chant, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Reverend Arlene, I've been looking at your website. How much does the I'm Keeping True workshop participation typically cost?
Well, it all depends. We're actually revamping it right now. But what you can do is you can send Rev Arlene at Agape Live. Wait, hold on. Yeah, Rev Arlene at agapelive.com. Send me your information, and as we revamp it, because we're trying to put it online now, which will have a different cost than when we're in person, and I have different levels. So definitely just send me an email and I can send you that information as soon as we're done doing that.
Will you say the email one more time?
Rev Arlene at agapelive.com.
Sweet. AGAPELIVE.com.
Yes, yes.
Cool. Let's see. Guest, one of the best sessions yet.
Wow. Well, thank you.
I know we've been doing this every day for where are we?
Every day?
467. Yeah, we do this every day at 10 o'clock since what? First part of March, middle of March?
Wow. Oh, I love it. As a matter of fact, I'm getting better at this. I'm typing in my email address.
In the chat area?
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah, do it.
gmail.com. Bam.
So we might have to have you come back on. Are you willing?
I would love to.
Cool.
As you see, I get very excited, but you've kind of tapped into every aspect of my life, whether it's eating, whether it's the women in treatment, whether it's the teen room. We do have a young adults ministry, Odyssey, which I'm the director of. That's the 20 through 35-year-olds. And we meet once a month on a Friday night.
And we accuse you of being underachiever, that's for sure, or under participating.
You know what they say, in living color, I'm Jamaican, and if you only have 10 jobs, you're lazy. So I have 10 jobs. I am working on that though. I'm working on the key to all of this though is everything I do leans into everything. So being in the teen room, working with teens, listen, if you don't have your act together, teens will let you know. So
that's right.
Being able to do that for 19 years prepared me to working at the treatment center with women for 10 years. I've been there. And then the young adults ministry branched out of the teen ministry. And so that has supported it. And then eating, it's, we teach some of our teens who graduated are now vegans. They're now vegetarians. They're eating different. Like we have an impact on our young people. Yeah. And I never pushed it on them, but I'm going to give you a story. How much time do we have left?
We have about 10 minutes.
Okay. So we have summer camp and we go to summer camp, we go up in the mountains and we tell the people, look, no pork. We will not give our youth any pork. That's our own preference. This is what we decided. One morning I come out and I go, wow, that bacon is really strong. So I go into the kitchen, I go, what are you preparing for our teens? And they said, we have bacon. And I said, what kind of bacon is it? And they said, pork. And we were like, we said no pork. Reverend Charles, I ran through the dining hall, pulling plates from the teens. Okay, wait a minute, but wait. And then some teens were like shoving it in their mouth to eat it before I got to them.
Here she comes.
And do you know, teens will make, the young adults, they're young adults now, will make jokes when they see me. Rev, remember when we were at camp and you tried to take our pork and we were like shoving it?
Get a couple of napkins, put it in your pocket. You
They, I
smell
mean,
like bacon.
they
Couple,
were grabbing the pork and shoving it down their throats. So, I mean, that's when we had summer camp. My prayer is that we have summer camp again. It was fun. It was great. But as you see, I love teenagers. I love young people. They keep me young. And life is just so good when you can serve them as that young a age. They get to grow up, and they may not use all the principles right now, but we get to plant seeds and
yes.
teach them their importance and their necessity.
Yes. You know Dr. Will Coleman, yeah? Down in Atlanta.
Uh,
You know Dr. Will?
yeah, I think I'm familiar with the name. Yes.
Yeah, okay. He's been through Agape, and he came up when I had Genesis a few times.
Oh, yes, yes. I know who that
He
is.
teaches from the Bible a lot. He
Right,
speaks like
right,
4
right.
or 5 different languages. He's just this.
Mhm. He was
I
at
thought,
Revelation quite a couple of times.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's been a revelation.
Hmm.
He someone says just real quick, thank you for reminding me I am a spiritual being living a human experience.
Yes.
There it
Yes.
is.
Truth.
We were talking the other night. He's going to be a guest on on this program next week, next Thursday, which I'm totally excited about. We were talking the other night. He said we were talking about, I've got a 7-year-old daughter and parenting and this and that. He said, Charles, every time you interact with her, you are literally creating the future.
Exactly.
You're informing the future when you every conversation you have with your daughter. That's what I hear you've been doing for so long now, informing. I mean, we talk about the future and we talk about it being something down the road, and what we know is that the God moment is one long moment. So I pray we have that context, but in this moment, what you've been doing for 20 years is literally creating the next moment.
I want to add this to it because this is a quote I took from my spiritual teacher. Our youth are our now.
Yep.
What we do with our youth now is our tomorrow.
Yep.
So I believe that now is what's most important. When I get a call in the middle of the night, I put up a little thing on my page for Reverend Ivana Gale, because Reverend Ivana Gale he was like I was like his little sister under his arm. He was very kind to me. He called me Grasshopper. And he would say, "Hey, Grasshopper, how are you?" Before I went to ministerial school, he would say, "I heard you're going to ministerial school." And I would have an attitude and say, "I am not going to ministerial school." I was adamant that I was a practitioner and that was enough. And then 2 years later, I went to ministerial school. But with him, I found myself, he knew who I was. He knew that there was a minister in me. And imagine knowing the magnificence of youth and knowing who they are. So I put on my page, he used to call me Grasshopper. And then the year he was passing, because he crossed over, he made his transition.
Yep.
He and Reverend Michael were on a prayer call, and I was on that call. And I've been with a mother who took her son, 18-year-old son, off life support. I mean, you don't even want to imagine that, praying through that. I'd been to the police station for another teen who had said they were going to commit suicide. So I'm at a police station. I'm up till 2:00 in the morning. And Reverend Michael goes, "Enough. She is not Grasshopper anymore. We got to rename her." So so here Reverend Nirvana are talking, and there are other people on the call, but it's like as if we're just the three of us. And then Reverend Michael said, "Full Lotus." Her name is Full Lotus now. So my spiritual name is Full Lotus. And he said, after what she went through this week, Full Lotus. So being with young people has really advanced me. And, I'm not going to be able to do this forever in this capacity. I want to start speaking and traveling. I've done a few workshops around the country. Doing my own retreat. I did a retreat in Jamaica in 2017, my motherland. It was phenomenal. And so I'm advancing, but for the past 4 years, I've been saying, when am I going to leave the teen room? And one of the teens said, "Don't leave till I graduate."
That'll keep happening.
And it hasn't happened. So I'm there until it's time for me to move on.
Good. Amen. Be where you're supposed to be. That's where you're at. That's where you're meant to be.
Exactly.
Well, when the buildings reopen and things, when the center reopens again, I would love to extend an invitation for you to come out here and do some things with our.
Oh, absolutely.
In person with our community. I'd love to do some more things like this. And
I would love to come out there. And the heat of out there, woo, I love the heat.
You love a buck. What did we get to almost? I think we got to 120 yesterday. It was close to 120 yesterday.
I would have loved that.
That's hot. That is
I know.
hot.
I know. I'm a hot weather girl. I like heat.
Right on.
So,
Well,
especially dry heat.
you bring the heat too. I love that.
It's like, bring that fire.
Bring the heat. Thank you, Reverend Arlene, for all your
Thank
great
you
work
so
to make
much.
the world a better place. Popular legend said that. So we're at a point of wrapping up here. I'm grateful to you, big time.
I'm grateful. Good to see you. It's been a
Yes.
long time. And
Yes.
congratulations on your new home.
Thank you.
And your community. I'm looking forward to meeting your community. And maybe during my next fasting program, we can bring community together.
Yeah.
It's a really powerful program. Again, it's not for the weary.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's part of the point of what we were saying. It really isn't for the weary. I mean, so when's the next one going to start?
Okay, well, it'll be Lent of 2021, and
okay.
We'll have the information out, anyone that just sends me an email. But I also want to say, today at 8 a.m., I was online with Agape. I did the prayer. At 12 o'clock noon, I'll be doing a 20-minute meditation. And tonight on my page at 7 p.m., I'll be doing a meditation hour.
Okay.
Of prayer, meditation, music, readings. I told you I'm busier than I've ever been.
I love it. So am I. So are we. It's
I know.
wild. I mean, doing these things.
And I'm going to change the word busy to active. I'm as active as I've ever been.
Active. You're moving. You're bringing your unique contribution to the world, and it's blessed. I mean, just nice user says, I'm grateful to both of you.
Thank you. I'm grateful to you. And thanks for being with us today. I'm honored and grateful for these opportunities to just chat and share. I'm just a little Jamaican girl that came to America, and I love life and I love people. And this is how I get to live my life. I get to serve humanity.
Amen. Amen. So you're say again, your meditation's tonight at 8 p.m.?
7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time on my page, Rev. Arlene Cecilia Hilton. That's my page.
Your Facebook page?
My Facebook page, Rev. Arlene Cecilia Hilton, Hylton.
Hylton.
Like the hotel with a Y. Yes.
I think folks can see it. Hopefully you can see it on the screen there. Yeah. Hylton. Love it. Cool. Absolutely. Hang tight for just a minute. I want to just do a couple of announcements and then say goodbye to you. Okay.
Absolutely. I'm here.
Okay, cool. So, beloved community, what a good stuff today, huh? We'll keep rocking and rolling. I'm so grateful to Reverend Arlene and all the work that she's doing, and that she's so generous and graceful enough to join me this morning. Tomorrow, we've got regular Tuesdays with Jafon Seeley. You know Jafon?
No, I don't. Not by name, maybe by face.
He knows you. I told you I was going to have you on the show, and he's like, yeah, I know Reverend Arlene, but you're famous. You're Reverend Arlene. Famous. Oh, there you go. Rev. Arlene Cecilia Hill. Okay, excellent. So tomorrow, 10 o'clock, Jafon, we're starting the book, How to Become an Anti... Say it again.
What's the name again? Jafon?
Jafon.
Okay,
J-E-F-F-O-N, Seeley.
Yes.
We're starting the book tomorrow, gang. We're going to be walking it out for a number of weeks, as long as it takes us. How to Become an Anti-Racist by Ibram Kendi.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a good one. Did I bring it? Hold on. Let me show you what it looks like.
I want to see.
Thanks for hanging out, folks. I got my copy, started reading it. Is that backward?
I've seen that. Yes, yes. Okay.
So we're going to be walking through this over the next number of weeks. I encourage you all to pick up the book, and that will be our Tuesday walkabout. Wednesday, we've got the Sensational Six again, doing what they do, bringing spiritual principle in the unique way that they present it. Spiritual laws and those things. We're so blessed. On Thursday, my good friend, Reverend Catherine Economo, will be joining me. She's a minister in Temecula, and she's my buddy, and we've been walking together for a while now in ministry and in life, and very grateful that she will get her unique perspective on her path and some of the crazy things that she's walked through and share her wisdom with us. And then Friday, it's Life on Love, back with me, featuring Reverend Charles Hall. Well, I'll be
Life on Love.
Life on Love, LOL, that's what I'm calling it, Life on Love. Just having Fridays be a Friday celebration, just 45 minutes to an hour of talking about my life. Like I said, I'm probably going to bring some special guests on. My mom might pop in, my sister might pop in, who knows, and just talk about family and life on love. That's what we're up to. And then, of course, on Saturday, our regular meditation at 10 a.m. and then another wonderful Sunday service coming up on Sunday. So that's what's up for the next week. Reverend Arlene, you're beautiful. You're excellent. You're now the inner makeup artist, right? That's what you do.
Yeah, artistry of
Inside.
the soul.
Artistry of the soul. I love it. I'm going to reach back out to you to have you back on again.
Wonderful. I'd love
This
to.
has been great. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jafar Seeley, are these virtual? What are you referring to? Are these virtual? Everything we're doing right now is virtual through all the classes. Yes.
Yeah, I was like,
Everything's
okay.
online. Yep. Arlene's meditation tonight through her page, Reverend Arlene Cecilia Hilton. Everything's virtual. So through our Zoom account, make sure that you're connected with us. Go to our YouTube page, Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert, spelled all the way out. And of course, our website, cslpalmdesert.org. And as always, we continue to appreciate the financial blessing that you shower upon the center that allows us to continue to do this work, to have guests like Reverend Arlene on the program, and to have this center be even more extraordinary than it was before we closed the doors because of the situation that we're in. So God bless you all. Reverend Arlene, again, have an awesome Monday.
Peace and love.
Peace and love with all you're up to, and we'll see you again very soon.
Thank
All right.
you. Thank you. Blessings,
Peace,
everyone.
everybody. God bless you. All right.